Hey guys, and welcome to the 21st installment of the Sling Den. And today I've got another friend from over the pond in Rick from Hillbilly Slings. So, hello, Rick. How are you doing, my
Hi, guys.
friend?
Hi, everybody. Hi, Benj. Thanks for having me on.
No problem, man. No problem. It's been a long while. We've been talking about getting you on for a little while.
Yeah, it's been a
Um,
little bit.
yeah, and finally got you on, and I'm excited to kind of get into exactly who you are. So, obviously, Hillbilly Slings. A lot of people would have seen your frames out and about. But let's find out a little bit more about you, Rick, where you're from, and just give us a little bit of an insight into who you are.
Oh, I'm an old fart. For one, no, born and raised in Washington State, USA. Dabbled a little bit here and there. Lived in Alaska for a little bit. Lived in California for a little bit when I was a kid. Ended up back here for some reason. But nah, great part of the country. Reminds me a lot of probably got the same weather you guys got over there, even though it's pretty nice today. But
I
gray
was
and
going to say,
gloom.
in the background, it looks pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good today. That's why I'm out. I got to grab all I can get until next June now. When it starts getting cloudy, it's done until June.
Nice. And let's find out a little bit more about your background with slingshots. How old were you when you first picked up your first sort of frame?
I can't remember. To be honest with you, I remember somebody saying I was 5, 6 years old, touching one that I wasn't supposed to be touching. But uh, other than that, it was probably 2.5 years ago when I
Okay.
honestly remember.
hmm And I was going to say, because it seems, I said when I put the post out that you had kind of come up quite quick on the scene. And what I meant by that was all of a sudden seen these funky frames come into light. And all of a sudden it seems like you're bringing out all these wonderful frames. We're going to get into all your builds and all that sort of stuff a little bit later on. Um, but let's just touch on, you saying, it was about 2 years ago. Give us a little bit of an idea on why you picked up a frame. What were the main uses? Was it just a case of being able to get out, outside and do something to release some stress? What was it for you?
It started with my prepper stuff. I was doing prepping because of the situation in the United States. Everybody started doing that stupid stuff, prepping, EDC kits, and then that led to bushcraft and started doing the bushcraft stuff. Still love doing that. Still do it today out in the woods behind me here. But, and I was just down the rabbit hole one day and I came across Mark, ATO,
hmm
on YouTube, and he had melded one of his overnighters. It was either overnight or just a day hike, but slingshot, and he was shooting it, and it just boom. I go, hey, now that's cool, because I'm kind of a quirky guy, and nobody around here, nobody around here does anything like that. So I said, what the heck? Let's give it a shot. So I went, and first thing I did is I got on eBay and I bought me a doggone Barnett Diablo wrist rocket slingshot and went down to the Walmart and got me some Daisy half-inch marbles and set up my steel targets for my shotgun and 22 shooting and started blowing up marbles with it. I said, this is cool. And then I started doing the more intelligent search and came across the whole realm of all the makers and all of the different frames and stuff out there. And that's led me to the rabbit hole I'm in today.
So obviously, when you say about sort of prepping and stuff, was one of the main reasons sort of like the idea of being able to use it to put food on the table?
For anything, it's that prepper mentality, that bushcraft mentality. Two is one and one is none. So I figured if I had a knife, I've got two. I got a pocket knife and I got this. So if I have a slingshot, I've got a backup means for something if I'm out there and my my shotgun shells fall apart, or I drop my ammo in a river or something like that. At least I got something else that I can maybe have some kind of luck with.
That cockerel sounds like it's having a lot of fun there in the background.
Yeah, I've got 17 new ones that we just hatched, so my flock is about close to 40 now.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow. Okay.
yeah.
I've got a couple of chickens myself. Luckily I've got no cockerels, but I mean even the hens they make enough noise as it is. When they
Actually,
get hungry and
yeah, I prefer the roosters over the hens. So they make a lot of racket, but at least they only do it every once in a while. The hens are cackling all day and all night.
yeah, yeah, I hear it. I hear it. But anyway, back on track with
Yeah.
the slingshot business.
Mhm.
So obviously you're what 2.5 years down the line now. Deep down into the rabbit hole.
July,
Um,
August 23. Yeah.
yeah.
Or
So
20, yeah, 23. So not quite 2 years yet. I thought it was, no, it was 22, August 22. Sorry.
22. Nice. So obviously now you've kind of done your research and you've kind of found out what you like. What was the biggest thing for you from when you first started to where you are now? What sort of adjustments have you made in terms of your shooting yourself? Because, when I have guests on that do builds and things like that, as much as I want to find out a little bit more about them themselves and the builds and stuff like that, I also want to know about them as shooters. So tell me, what was it? What were the key things for you when it comes to sort of shooting? Was it the setup? Was it a certain technique or something that you learned along the way?
I am a dabbler, so I'm continually dabbling. I've got it. When I get it right, something goes wrong. So, like right now, I've got my dominant eye has I got a cataract, so I can't see 15 feet in front of me clear with it. So, as soon as I got it down, it wasn't. So now I spend my time trying to figure out a different way to do it. I think I've got it down. I was just out this morning and I did pretty good. But again, that's at 10 meters. Anything longer than that, it's just a guess. So until I get that fixed, then I have to go back to the drawing board again. I guess it's a never-ending struggle to try to find perfection. I guess.
And I think that's one of the key things, isn't it? Is once you find something that works, it's so important just to kind of stick at it. Because, small minor changes, like for me, I was using the BSB bands for
Mhm,
God knows how long, months and months and months. And I was quite happy just, using them. And all of a sudden they changed the latex
mhm,
and it just caused, so many problems because I was so used to that latex.
uh-huh,
And I bought sort of 3 or 4 different brands and
mhm,
tested, and I
mhm,
have, finally come up with something that I like. But small little adjustments
mhm,
are so, fine in this hobby in terms of
mhm,
shooting and accuracy.
mhm.
So, for you, it's just about finding that one thing that's going to work. So tell me more about that, vision problem that you have there. Is it something you're going to get fixed?
Oh yeah, I'll get it fixed. I already had the one I done 4 or 5 years ago, and it just they said I was gonna. They should have done them both at the same time, but I said I could see fine out of it. Now I can't. So it's just a matter of getting the time and and the means to do it. The means aren't the problem. The time is. My day job is you know is demanding, and we're a small crew as it is, so it makes it the logistics kind of difficult. And then just the time. I'm in and out, and it takes them about 15 minutes to replace my eyeball, and then I walk around with numb eye for about 4 or 5 hours, and then boom, it's just you get up in the morning, and by the time you go to bed, it's just like it never happened. So it's not a big deal.
Hmm. So obviously, once you've got that fixed, then I imagine it's going to be another
Got to start
case
all
of,
over.
yeah, yeah.
Over.
That's what I was trying to
Yeah.
get in at because, it was a little bit different, but I wasn't wearing glasses up until a year ago, so I had sort of like a year, maybe a year and a bit of shooting without glasses, and
Hmm.
then when I got my glasses, it was like shooting in HD. I could see the target so clearly. However, my shooting completely changed. Even messing around with my anchor point and stuff like that had to be
Hmm.
adjusted because it's completely different.
I'll tell you. Yeah. I mean, I can already see it because when I had the other eye done, when I got it finally, when I finally pried it open, when it was because it was still numb, and you can't move it or anything, you can't move your eyelid or anything until the numbness goes away. But I forced my eyeball open, and it was like seeing the world completely different. It's the best way I could explain it is like when you walk into a room and it's got cool white LED lights, and then you walk back into another room and it's got the old incandescent yellow 1940s light bulb in the
Mhm.
yellow lampshade, cigarette
Mm.
stained lampshade. You
Mm.
know, it's that much of a difference when you
Mhm.
change your eyeballs, and that's when I could see good. And even that took a minute.
Mhm.
Driving at night, it made a difference. So it makes a difference every way. But yeah, you have to start fresh, and it's fun, but it's frustrating.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a good way of putting it actually, because I said that when I done my top 5 video is I could almost wish I could go back to the beginning and learn everything again because, as much as a lot of it was frustrating, when I was watching people doing these, consistent shots on like a spinner and stuff like that, yet I
Mhm.
was hardly able to hit a can. It was
Right.
frustrating, but also thinking about the journey that I went on to kind of get
Mhm.
to where I am now. It's been it's been so much fun.
I wouldn't trade it
Um,
for nothing. It's
yeah,
been a blast. It is.
yeah, and I think that's one of the key things to take away, especially if you're a beginner. So if you're watching this now as a beginner, just know that eventually it will come a point. And this is not me saying like I'm a fantastic shooter or anything like that, but you can really feel yourself progressing over time. That's through practice and making adjustments to your, whether it be your technique or your equipment, and you
That's all the
finally get
fun.
it.
That's all the fun. What happens when you get there? What do you do then? There's nothing left for you. I mean, what do you start shooting offhand? You start doing trick shots. I mean, once you get it, and once you're nailing a 20 millimeter target, 75 times in a row, where do you go from there? Why do you want? I mean, you want to be there, but then again, once you're there, where do you go? The fun
Well, I
is
guess,
getting. It's fun
yeah,
that you want to be
I
there, but
guess
you don't.
why a lot of people tend to do different things. Some people may try out long draw or
Mhm.
short draw, vice versa, whichever one they're shooting, or they might go to PFS, or they might do something a little bit different. But
Mhm.
for me personally, I'm the kind of person where it'll never be enough, and I'll never be good enough for
Mhm.
myself,
Mhm.
because it's like, okay, I'm going to go to competitions. I'm not aiming to be ultra competitive, but
Right.
that's something extra that I can do
Mhm.
that'll test
The expe-
myself. The whole reason I got into shooting was to be able to do a little bit of hunting,
Mhm.
a bit of permission I got, which I've managed to do this year very, very successfully. So that's a huge feather in my cap for myself, is being able to put food in my freezer.
Yeah, exactly.
So it'll never be enough for me personally because I'm always wanting to progress. I'm always wanting to be a much better shot,
Mhm.
but there'll never be that jump in change from when I first started off, standing probably less than 10 meters from a cannon, missing and hitting it
Mhm.
maybe 1 out of 10 times, and then I had a
Mhm.
huge rush from that one shot. Whereas
Mhm.
now, I'm practicing on a 25 mil,
Mhm.
and it's a whole different story. It's not as exciting as it was when I first started. I'll give you that, but
Right.
for sure, there's still room for improvement, and
The
yeah, I'm still looking
achievements
forward
get
to it.
farther apart and longer to get to as you
That's
progress.
right. Hmm. Yeah, for sure. That's definitely a good point.
Yeah.
Now let's talk a little bit about your frames because I first come across them. It was on Facebook that I saw them, and I saw it and I thought that's a bit strange. I thought that there's something unique. That, I've not seen anything like that before. It's pretty cool. And then I was speaking to Dan Layton of Leighton Strods and Catties, and he had brought it up in the conversation that he had seen one of your frames also, and we kind of just said, yeah, they look, they look really, really cool. Um, so obviously, I got my hands on a couple. I've done a little video where I was testing them
Mhm.
out, and I had so much fun doing that video. And they're my favorite frames to shoot. They're non-clip frames. They're my go-to frames.
Yeah.
But coming from you now, what was the idea behind making your frames? Because you said they're imperfectly perfect, but what was the whole idea about when you first started making Hillbilly Slings?
I uh I kept buying frames. Of course, went down the rabbit hole buying frames, and I liked a lot of them, but I didn't love them. I kept wanting something that felt right. I got a lot of frames that feel really good, and I love shooting them, but they were just not right. And I go, you know what? What the heck? I mean, I'm spending. buku amount of money on other people's frames. Let me try to make my own. Let me see what I can do. See if I can do something that maybe I like. And I just took a piece of half-inch plywood, you know, took the graph paper that I drew my pattern on the night before and cut it out, laid it on top of it, got it as close as I could to the pattern, cut it out with a scroll saw, and I got that. And uh, that's the beginning of it right there.
So is that the first one?
That's my first build. That's the very first one, and I still shoot it. It's now what I call the barkeep, and I do make a couple of those still. Uh, the deluxe version, the X versions, but yeah, that's the critter right there. You can tell he's been hanging up for a while. Those are kind of looking a little ratty, but yep, that's the guy. And
And
then
tell me,
go ahead.
did you have a background in woodwork or anything like that before you
Absolutely not.
started?
I am no artist. I am no nothing. I am not a carpenter, even though in my current living facility right now, I've been forced to be a carpenter. I built a deck and steps and flooring and rebuilding the floor, and so yeah, I dabble.
Mhm.
But yeah, jack of all trades, ace of none.
So obviously your designs are quite unique in many ways. Was that something you set out on doing, or was it like by accident that they kind of come out as they did, and you kind of
A
thought, "Hang
little
on a minute."
both, a little of
Mm,
both, I think. Everybody, plywood plywood slingshot frames get a ration of garbage, from a lot of people, and I can understand that if they're built incorrectly. So I go, you know what, this is a neat little frame, and I built maybe a dozen, maybe a dozen and a half out of half-inch plywood. And I think you've got one of the I think one of those relics is a half-inch plywood one, if I remember correctly. That's
mm,
probably one of my first builds. Um, but there's got to be a way to do it better. And I'm sure I'm not the first, but I took two half-inch pieces of plywood and glued them together with the grains reversed so that they weren't sitting in grain to end grain.
mhm.
If I was cutting it lengthwise, I would turn it over so that the grains weren't, they weren't following the grain of the
Yeah.
wood all the way down. And then if they were side by side, I would, I would do it the other way so that it would double, so the strength and structural integrity would be there, the strength would be there. So when I did the cuts, it would still it would still be safe.
Mhm.
And then I started out drilling holes in it and nailing nails through it and then chopping them off and filing them down to pin them so that I made sure I was trying I wanted it to be safe because I didn't want my eye to get popped out. I just got one
Mhm.
fixed. I didn't want to lose the other one. So and and then that's how it all started. And then that's the first deluxe. It was the first two-piece frame, and then I started just and it's loosely based on the Boot Hill. And that's where I came up with the Boot Hill after the deluxe, and it just you know
Mm.
it and it to be honest, the way I finished the wood is the first batch of wood that I ever had that I was making that I made my first run of frames with. I hope I can find another. I hope I can find another sheet like that because I that sheet of wood was amazing for the color and the grain and just the way it was built. I've gone through probably 4 or 5 sheets of plywood, and each sheet I've gone through has been progressively more difficult to try to get it to look like a hillbilly.
Mhm.
It's just that first sheet of plywood was just so incredible, and it was really cool.
And what about the reaction you had from the community? Because obviously there's a lot of makers out there. We got the high end makers that have been around for a lot of years. For someone like yourself who's fairly new to the game, what was your kind of reaction to the way people were reacting to your frames?
right now, I still can't wrap my head around it. I still don't. I I mean, don't believe me. It feels incredible. I mean, I've got 900 almost hillbillies out there in Hillbilly Nation that
Wow.
are just, are tried and true backers, and I love every single one of them. They're amazing people, and I mean, I've got a couple of the nation that have bought 7, 8, 9 frames from me, and I just it's incredible. I mean, from a guy that doesn't really, I mean, I get people keep telling me I have artistic talent, and I still don't see it. And looking at my frames, I definitely don't think I do. But they've got an air to them. I really dig them. I like the way they look, and and I've got a wood pile sitting over here, or a burn pit, that the ones I don't like go into. I don't sell ones I don't like. It's just I've got a couple hanging on the wall in there. I test shoot. I carry one of them to work with me, just because it's ugly and I absolutely love it. So I carry it with me, and it shoots great. But I'll never get rid of it because it's just too
Mm.
ugly.
I think, sometimes you have to be a bit different to what is currently there, and you certainly done that. And I mean,
You came to the right place. You came to the right
yeah,
game.
if you look at them on a screen, like if you look at them on your phone or whatever you do, if you haven't held one, I was first off pleasantly surprised at how comfortable they felt. Um, but they do look hillbilly-ish, and I said that in the video. It's something completely different, and of course, everyone can make a natty. I made my natty not long ago, and there are a lot of great natty makers out there. But
Mhm.
what you do is very, very different, and sometimes I think when it's got that element of differential, like you said, you don't think you're very artistic or anything like that, but sometimes they're the things that make your thing stand out. And I truly believe that with your frames.
Mhm.
It's the way they look, they are artistic, they are completely different to everything
Oh,
else on the
thank you.
market. And I think that's why people love them so much. And we've spoken now about how it first started, but obviously now, we're further down the line, and I keep seeing these new frames of yours come out, where
Mhm.
they've got the cores and things like that. You've got the Mega Billy and all these sort of things. Tell me a little bit about that journey from starting off with these plywood kind of frames to where you're at now.
Just trying to keep ahead of the game. Just trying to stay relevant, new. Once even though I can't wrap my head around it, I still got to realize that, hey, I got people out there that dig this stuff, and I want to keep doing stuff that the guys dig. So I'm always, I 24/7. I dream about trying to come up, just trying to do something. Like I just posted this one this morning, and it's just I need to stop sniffing glue when I'm in the shop while I'm waiting for it to dry. I just need to
That's so
you know
cool.
a little steampunkish, but just stupid little things, just try to stay ahead of the game. I've got and of course, Dan, Aaron, and you have been just incredible for me and for Hillbilly. Uh just pushing and enjoying and the good things and all the good stuff that you guys do for Hillbilly and for me is just it's one of the major launching pads. My UK market, Hillbilly, it's out there, are great. I mean,
Mm.
I stay in contact with a lot of them. They contact me almost daily. Um, I've got orders up until last week. I've been shipping orders weekly until last week, and then I guess the weather got bad over there or something, so it'll probably be a week or two before I
And
get another order
how does
from
that
them.
make you feel? Because that's not necessarily an easy thing to do. When you've got makers, a lot of them are kind of centralized to where they're at. Obviously, the bigger you are, the more global your frames go. But to know there's people, in a different continent that are really wanting your stuff, how does that make you feel?
I You got Simon, you got the Laytons, you've got Chris, Catapult Carnage. The list goes on. I no, I'm speechless. I have nothing. I have no rhyme, no reason, no clue, but I love it. Uh, Martin, Steers Wall Slings,
Mhm.
uh, had shirts made up. Took my logo, wanted to get my logo and get shirts made up. Sold a ton of them over there,
Mm.
and I'm going, okay, and I don't know. I love it. It's so appreciated. It's very humbling, and I don't know what to say. Thank you. It's just incredible.
And tell me about the names, 'cause I always thought I found these, usually when we look at like names of slingshots and stuff like that, they're always going for like the kind of apex predator, kind of the biggest, the baddest names. Your names, on the other hand, the Boot Hill, things like that. What was the one that you said? What was the
Barkeep,
barkeeper?
barkeep.
Barkeep. Yeah, all these sort of names, man. They're really cool. Where'd you get those ideas from?
I'm My television set is stuck on Western stations when I come home
Nice.
from work. So Tales of Wells Fargo, Gunsmoke, Wagon Train, then the weekend movies. So Boot Hill, of course, my first mainstream frame, uh, right from Gunsmoke, Boot Hill, right out of town where they buried everybody out there. So, and if you kind of turn it upside down and look at it, I tried to kind of make it look like a tombstone, but everybody
Nice.
sees it this way. But I tried to, kind of,
Uh-huh. Yeah,
loosely,
yeah, yeah.
but and then you got, the hillbilly stuff. Like you got the moonshiner, and then of course with the western stuff, you got the barkeep. Um, I got the scudder, which is another Gunsmoke term. With Festus, one of the characters on Gunsmoke, called everybody the old scudder. You know, um, I got one in there that I only built one of. It's called the Miss Kitty. Just I got the bootlegger, the moonshiner, um, just just whatever hits me.
And they certainly suit the frames. Do you know what I mean? Like I said, they suit the frames. Like if slingshots were around in the old spaghetti western films, they'd definitely be your sort of frames they'd be carrying.
I don't know if Clint Eastwood would be as popular today if he was carrying around a slingshot, but it'd be a nice thought.
Now, obviously, you mentioned that one of the reasons that you kind of started making was because you wanted to make one for yourself.
Mhm.
Talk a little bit about your current setup. What is it that you're shooting?
My current setup, I just showed it to you. Uh, a clipped boot hill, the very first boot hill that I clipped and
Nice,
shoot. Um, this is probably as close to the perfect frame as I've made to this point. Even being blind 2200 in my shooting eye, I can cut in half my 80 millimeter shoot and see target on cardboard in about 20 shots. So, and that's across the center, not top to bottom, X or anything. That's straight elevation side to sides with my eyeball, and I can't do that with anything else.
nice.
And that's what I'm shooting right now. Right now, I've got zero point 0.5 green Olympus green Omega on it. I usually shoot the Sniper Sling point 0.5, but I was just seeing if I amped it up a little bit, if I could get the same trajectory velocity as I could with the point 0.5 Sniper Sling. It's doing real well.
And what about the taper? What sort of taper are you using?
Just 2012.
2012.
I'm stuck at 2012. I'm not stuck at 20. I'll do 2212 on my Titan Hunter. Um, I do 2212 on my Skinny Billy. Well, actually, the Possum Patrol. I got 2212 on it now. Point 0.6 uh, Olympus Green.
And I'm going to ask you about pouches now, because I'm sure I've seen the post from you that you made a couple of pouches. Is that right?
I've got some like 2 ounce veg tan leather, and I've got about a half a dozen or so dies. And it's something like, again, when I need to stop, I need to leave the room when I glue stuff together, because when the glue is dry and I do a bunch of weird stuff. So, but yeah, I pop out a few dies or a few pouches when I'm bored.
And I wish I could use the leather pouches because they look fantastic and they do feel great. But I mentioned in the video that I'd done with ATO where I was going through the polls, but I'm stuck on pit pouches.
Mhm.
I just can't come away from them. But there's so many nice pouches out there, and I really do like those leather ones. Yours are the ones with the little red skull on them, is it?
No, no, no. Mine are just right. Mine are just plain veg tan. I might throw a little dye on a couple of. I think Leon Squat Shot is the only one that's got any. I sent him like 4 or 5 of them when he bought his Mega Billy, just to
What are
dinker
they?
around with.
Are they Rue pouches or?
No, they're veg tan
It's,
cow leather,
oh,
and
cow leather. Nice. Okay.
yeah, they work okay. I mean, I use them for my natties and my gypsy straws. But
Okay.
I don't use. I'm a pit pouch guy. You know that
And what
pit.
about sort of customs? Have you had anyone come to you asking for something a little bit different, something built for purpose for themselves?
Yeah. While back, I did a 80 millimeter for a custom. Just I used a BR 549 frame. Went down to 80 millimeters with it. Uh, yeah, I did that. I've done. I what I've actually done is I've designed frames in the sizes that people are asking for. I did the 85er, which is like instead of 49er, like the
Mhm.
old gold miner guys, the 49ers, I call it the 85er. It's an 85
Nice.
millimeter frame. I've got the BR 549 clipped, the boot hill clipped, and uh, the persnickety, which is a new frame. I've just got the prototype done. 83, 85, 87 millimeter. Plus, I've got coming. I might as well spill the beans now. A couple of people know, but I've got the Mega Billy, which is going to be. It has a Mega Billy now. I've got some 6 millimeter alloy cores coming for that, so they'll be a lot thinner. And then
Nice.
I've got some mini billies coming. They're 80 millimeter and a little shorter. So I'll be doing 80 millimeter mini Mega Billies.
Nice.
So those
Nice.
will be coming soon. And then of course I got the Skinny Billy and the Possum Patrol. Those are all 90s. But I'm
So I
thinking about
guess
maybe doing a
that
like a
that was going to be
go
my
ahead.
next question. What's next for you? What are you
Um,
hoping to kind of do?
right now my focus is on the all wood frame clipped. I really, 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 really like them. They're something I really like. Um, of course, then I've got the 6 millimeter mix coming, which I can do a heck of a lot more with than I did with the 10 millimeter ones. Other than I'm gonna I can use the 10 millimeter ones for things like this, but I can actually do something cool with them. Um, and then of course the 80 millimeter uh, mini billies are going to be fun too. So those are 6 mil, so I'll be able to do a bunch with them. But I'll do any of them. There's a that's that when I diversified like that, it made it cool because I can lay off of one like the X series, the plywood wood, the Boot Hill, the BR 549, all those other ones, and I can do the clipped ones, and then I can do the skeletonized ones, the Skinny Billy and the Possum Patrol. Then I can do the Mega Billy, and then when I get to that line, then I can go back to the beginning and go, oh hey, look, we got some more of these available. Yeah, look at that, and it just so I don't. I was trying to throw everything in one box and trying to do it
Mhm.
all the time, and it 13, 14 hour days on the weekends, 5, 6 hours at night after work,
And that's
and
what I was going to say. I know that you work as well, so it's got to be difficult,
yeah,
when you're in.
it was a madhouse there for a while. Now that I got the system down, that I'll like when we go back here, I might do a couple of Boot Hill X's, just the regular plywood ones. And then I want to do another clipped Boot Hill maybe this weekend. And then I just got done doing a UK Spitfire all wood clipped for a customer. It turned out beautiful. Um, and then and then I was like I said when I was waiting for all that glue to dry, I did that steampunk thing, that contraption sitting there. But it just whenever I sit down, like tonight, I'll sit down and I'll be watching a Clint Eastwood movie or something, and then something pop into my head, and I'll get up 4:30 in the morning and go out and start working on it. You know,
That's crazy, man.
well, it's just one of those things. It's just whatever hits me, or it'll hit me on Wednesday, and then me being so old, Friday night I'll come into the shop and I'll go, "What the heck was I thinking about Wednesday to build? I didn't write it down."
You need, that's
Oh
what I'm saying. You
well,
need to get yourself a little notepad next to your bed
yeah.
or something, just
Well, I
so
forget.
when you.
I got a notepad. I left it at work. So a lot of get that did, it's just nature of the beast, So I built something. I built a couple things and had one I had to build that was paid for and sold. So it's just fun. I'm having fun with it, and it got hectic there for a minute, but now it's at a comfortable pace. I I feel comfortable making 3 quality frames a week,
No, yeah, and
and
you got to enjoy it as well.
yeah,
In anything you do, you got to enjoy it. And it sounds like now you've got a good structure going on,
yeah,
and you're able to cope with what you're
hmm
getting.
hmm
Now I feel like I've picked your brains a lot. I've got a lot of information from you. However, the community also had a whole lot of questions for you.
okay.
So we'll get into some of them. So the first one, let's take a little look here. So the first one we got is from Jesus G. Ramirez.
Okay,
What's the one slingshot that inspired you to make a similar model but of your own, with your own specifications and liking?
that's easy. The Skeleton, Light and Leighton. Love
Nice,
that slingshot. Love that frame. Mega Billy, or not the Mega Billy. Possum Patrol Skinny Billy. Uh, Skeleton, little bit Titan Hunter, but mainly because of the Skeleton. Love that frame.
nice. The next one that we got is by Andy Maund. So you want to know what inspired you to create your frames in the way that you do. And then the other question he's got is, would you rather have a Wild West style duel with one man shooting 10 mil ammo or 5 men shooting 6 mil clays? That's a great question.
Uh, let's start with the second one. There's I'll take the numbers over the ammo. So more people shooting smaller ammo, sure. I'll always take more people. And then the first, what inspired me? Now I forgot the first question.
Yeah, what inspired you to create frames in the way that you do? So I know we've kind of touched on that a little bit, but
Um, I wanted it. First of all, it was what all the materials I had and the tools I had to work with. But being in the bushcrafting and liking old west decor and that kind of thing, I wanted to kind of make it look like it was something out of the old west, something that some that might have been carried in the you know late
hmm.
1800s, early 1900s, and, and it just luckily turned out that way you know
And that's what I mentioned earlier. They do look like that. They do look good, and that's why I said the names of them definitely suit them. So the next one's by Aaron von Holsten of Leighton's, Strods and Catties. So he wants to know. He's got a couple of questions, so we'll ask him each piece at a time.
Okay.
Um, so he says, any materials, no budget. You got to make your dream frame. What frame you building and what materials you using? So we go ahead and answer that one first.
uh Skeleton, made of titanium with carbon fiber inserts.
Hang on just 1 second before we go. We have actually got Aaron joining us
Oh,
because
hey.
we've got, if you're a member of the Sling, then which you can become a member at any point, you can come on and ask your questions to the guests. So we've got Aaron here, Blatant Straws and Kites. How you doing?
I'm all right. Yeah, you?
Hey,
Yeah, good.
Aaron.
It was good timing. So I was just asking you a question where you said if he had a unlimited budget and he could build one frame, what would he build? So do you want to add anything to that?
No, but I have got a follow-up question.
Okay, well, he was just about to answer that one. So he said the skeleton, and we didn't quite get the materials. So go ahead, Rick. What materials will you be using?
a skeleton, titanium frame, carbon fiber inserts.
Wow.
What'd you make of that, Aaron?
I like it. I'm honored that he's chosen one of our frames, but wow. Nice. Are you going to make it happen?
Skeleton's one of my, it's top three, top two, top three.
Nice. And what was the follow-up question, Aaron?
Let me just get the. What's your favorite tool in your workshop, and what's the next one on your shopping list?
My favorite tool, certainly not my glue. You know, that's hard to. That's hard. I like my Dremel. I really do. My Dremel's. I do more with the Dremel than anything, so I guess I'd have to say my Dremel. I like it.
And
There's an
what's
art
the
to
next
using
one?
them.
What's that? Oh, the next one I want. I'd like to get me. I've got a router. I'd like to get a router table. You know, just so I can. But I see. I don't want to get too fluffy. You know, too perfect. Because then but I enjoy that. I enjoy rounding them off and doing them by hand and have them not even and all that stuff. I like that.
That's your aesthetic at the end of the
Apparently a
day.
lot of people do. So, you know, I guess. You know.
And I know
Right?
Aaron quite well, so that would drive you mad, wouldn't it, Aaron? I mean, the OCD that you have of making sure everything's inch perfect. I mean, that would drive you kind of mad.
There's something about the Hillbilly frames, though. It works for them. It just makes them work.
I want
Yeah,
him
we were
in the
talking
shop
about
one
that
day.
earlier.
One day in the shop, me and you, buddy. I want to do this.
Road trip. Oh, not a road trip, a flight, and then a road trip over to Hillbilly Slings.
I just sit there, smile all day. Watching him sit there. I'd love it. It'd be fun.
Any other questions from you, Aaron?
No, that's it. I'm going to have to bounce now, but thank you for giving me the opportunity, and we're honored that you chose one of our frames.
Good
Thank you very
seeing you,
much.
buddy. It's always good seeing you. Good talking to you as always, and we'll talk soon.
And you. Catch up soon. Thank you.
Okay,
Bye.
Yeah,
bye
thanks for
now.
joining. Catch you later.
Yep. That was cool.
There we
Thanks.
go.
That was awesome.
There we go, guys. If you do want to join in on the action when I've got a guest on, hit the join button and you can come and ask your questions live. So anyway, the next one we had after Aaron is from Chris Foster, who's another guy here in the UK. So he comes up with, you know what, I'm going to have to give a reward out at the end of the year for the best questions, because at the moment, this man is absolutely killing it. So his question is, what would you rather take a swig of? Would you rather take a swig of moonshine every time you miss a shot, or undies on top of your trousers for the rest of your life? I mean, that's the first one.
I don't drink anymore, so I'd have to go with the undies under the over the trousers. But then again, that's just right up my alley. So nobody'd even, nobody, oh, there's Rick. Yeah, that's Rick. So
I mean, to be fair, I mean, I don't know you overly well, but it wouldn't surprise me if you stood up right now and you had undies above your trousers. So
I am not wearing trousers, so no, I'm wearing sweats. I'm all right.
So he says he loves your designs. He wants to know what got you into slingshots and what keeps you into slingshots. So answer those ones first, and we'll get on to the last one.
What got me into slingshots? Well, we kind of went over that. It was the whole prepper thing, and what keeps me in slingshots. I love building them. I love shooting them. I love being around the people that shoot them. I love being around the people that build them. I love being around the people that supply them. It's just the whole thing. I just absolutely love it.
Nice, great answer. And then the next one, he wants to know if you could choose a design other than yours to be a favorite. Which one would it be and why?
That's an impossible. That's hard because there's about four. It depends on what I'm shooting. I got 4 frames other than my own that I would shoot in a heartbeat. The S Airship Sniper Sling. Love that frame when I'm shooting 8.5 steel. Or 8 steel, 8mm steel. Titan Hunter, 9.5 millimeter steel. I got it set up for that. The Bushy Beaver Polywog, my favorite frame when I'm struggling. I can go back to that frame and it brings me back for some reason. Alex at Bushy Beaver, he got me into the whole trying to build a custom. He built one of my frames for me that I designed. My very first design, the Warden, which I've done again. But that polywog, I can, when I'm struggling, I can pick that thing up. 9.5 millimeter clay, I'm in. UK Spitfire. UK Spitfire is just, I can shoot anything with that. I probably have to get UK Spitfire, probably number one, and then the Skeleton right behind that.
Nice.
Skeleton's a steely. It likes shooting steel with me more than clay, but the UK Spitfire, I can shoot anything with it.
I've been on the Skeleton, well, since its release, and I've had frames in between over the last year, which I still enjoy shooting occasionally, but I keep going back to the Skeleton. I've currently got two, so in my everyday carries, I take two out with me, two with very slight different band sets. One's carrying a little bit more velocity than the other. I'd probably say one's a bit more for my targets and one's a bit more for the mooching sort of thing. But they're the two frames that are carrying me at all times. So I can definitely see why you like those.
Yeah, I got two Skeletons also. One of them's got 0.5 Sniper Sling green on it, and the other one's got 0.5 black. And you know, the black is, I got chickens, so the 0.5 black is for when I come out and do a little bit of varmint control.
Nice. So the next one is by our friend Ethan Martin. What was your first frame? And besides one of your designs, what's your favorite design? So, I mean, we're getting a couple of repeats. So we'll change it up. So obviously, we found out what your first frame was. Is there any frames that you've not got that you'd love to have? Was there any out there?
That's a tough question. Probably, I don't know. I'd like to try Lion's Paw RVA. Try one of those out. I would like to. Other than that, I can't. Probably just the Lion's Paw, the RVA Lion's Paw. I've seen it all over the place. I'd like to try that.
Nice.
You know, I wanted to do a loaded skeleton, a metal one, you know, that wasn't skeleton, that was filled in. So I got me a brass core and I built me one of those, and I love that thing. So I that would probably be it, a Lion's Paw RVA.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Cool. So the next one is by Rex Spurlock Jr. What makes you so wow about this community?
What's there not to be? I mean, their generosity, approval, pride in accomplishment. There's not one bad thing about the community. There's not. I mean, there's nothing to not go wow about. You know, it's just like, you know, with Hillbilly Nation, they're just a subset of the whole community that I kind of cater to a little bit more. But you know, there's not one member outside of the Hillbilly Nation that is treated any less than anybody, man. I absolutely love this whole community, top to bottom. There's not one bad thing to be said about any of it.
And I think, you know, it's definitely key that you can be completely free to express yourself with this community, you know, because there's no judgment, there's no right or wrong way to do everything. So, you know, whatever you do, even, you know,
look at
you always
Coinworker.
yeah.
Love the guy. Love the guy.
So the next one's by Nate Moore. Same question as for Andy. So, what's your favorite childhood breakfast cereal and cartoon? Love this question.
Golden Grams and Captain Caveman.
Nice. I don't know of Captain Caveman. I don't know whether that was one that didn't quite make it over
It,
to us here in the
it
UK.
wasn't one of the A-listers, but it stuck around for a while. I'll still watch on YouTube every once in a while. I'll watch one every once in a while, just because I've got a bumper sticker.
Reminisce.
I got a window sticker on my car, Captain Caveman still.
Nice. So the next one we got, actually, is the last one we got is by Sling Nerd. We got a couple here. If you went back to where it all started with making frames, would you do anything differently?
Nope. Nope.
No.
No, I don't think so. I think if I changed anything, I'd probably have been out of the hobby because I would have been frustrated, and I wasn't frustrated with my first build on this, and I don't think I'd change anything.
You know, it genuinely sounds like, you're very pleased, and so you should be, but you're very sort of content with what you've done, what you've achieved, the feedback that you've been given, and how well this has all kind of picked up and gone. Um, so
I
yeah.
like I said, I'm no RVA, I'm no moan, I'm no hunter. I'm taking shots. I'm not a boutique builder, even though I tried to be a boutique on some of my alloy core stuff, but it's still a hillbilly. I mean, they're not
Mhm.
perfect. They're imperfectly perfect, and I'll never build a perfect frame. And
Mm.
if I tried to build a perfect frame, I probably wouldn't be in the hobby anymore because it drive me
Yeah.
nuts and I get so mad. And I'm just I'll be me, and I'll
Yeah.
be me whether Hillbilly goes under or Hillbilly turns into RVA. Either way,
Yeah.
it'll never be an RVA. But you know what I'm saying. Um, they'll be the same, and I'll be the same.
Yeah, and that's the way it should be. That's
Mhm,
that's what's got you to the dance, as they say. It's the uniqueness of what you do, and the fact that you can be content with them, and then put them out there for people to absolutely love.
mhm.
Is what it's all about, really. So
Yeah.
the next one that he's got is any plans for other themes like hippie slings.
Well, you know, anything's a possibility. I went steampunk this morning, so
I was going to say that it's a bit different to
anything's
your normal
possible. Like I said, no pun intended, but the gears are always turning. Even though they don't on this, but I'm always like I said, I wake up at 1:30 in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, again at 3 o'clock. Ideas, ideas, ideas. You got to come up with something. Got to think of something. Or, I'm jotting things down at work that I leave at work and I forget to bring home. So they'll be there for next weekend, I guess. So, but yeah, I'm wheels are always going. I got new stuff coming in. Like I said, I got the thinner core mega billies coming in. I got the mini billies coming in. Gonna do some new designs on take some of the X series and put clips on them and see how those go with the barkeep and the moonshiner and the bootlegger and see what goes on there and just keep going.
nice. So the last one he's got is what is the most non-hillbilly thing you do? Ooh, that's a great question. What is the most
Um,
non-hillbilly thing that you do?
this computers, computer stuff, working on computer all day at work and, you know, everything else I do once I punch out, I get home and not in front of one of these things. It's about as hillbilly as I get. I got woods out here. I got chickens. I got my turkey. I got, crows, and now I got the ducks coming back for the migration run, and just, sit out on the porch. I don't drink moonshine, but I got to still somewhere out. Shh. I didn't say that. No, no. The most non-hillbilly thing I do is the electronics.
The technology kind of side of
Yeah,
things.
yeah. Everything else, I got the garden over there. I'm in the garden picking stuff, and simple life. Try to.
Nice. Cool. Well, that is it from me. But as always, I like to hand the microphone over, and just basically give you your, a platform on, your message to everybody out there, really. Anything that you want to kind of leave us with.
Uh, let's do this. From day one, I want to thank you and I want to thank Dan, and I want to thank Aaron. From day one, the first post I did of these things, you guys were all over it, and you turned them into something that, like I said, I still can't grasp. I still have a hard time putting my head around it. It's starting to become reality, but it's still really a cool wow feeling. It's just a weird feeling. And to the 900 almost hillbilliots and hillbilly nation out there in the last not even a year on Facebook followers, stay strong, do your thing, promote, go out there and show them what a hillbilly it's all about. To the rest of the Slingshot community, I can't thank you enough for all the likes, all the cares, all the support, the laughs. It's a great ride, and I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. And if it stopped today, I'd still be sitting in the shop looking back on all this and just still not be able to put my head around it. It's just too cool. Thank you very much, everybody.
Well, hopefully it doesn't stop anytime soon because you're a great person to have in the community, and I love seeing all the things that you're coming out with. So, with all that being said, I will put a link down in the description below. So if you want to check out any of Rick's Hillbilly Slings, make sure you do so. Get on that link and pick yourself up a frame, because trust me, I've shot them and I absolutely love them. They just got a different feel to them. Like I said, if I pick up any of my frames that are wrap and tuck, it's straight to the hillbillies for me. So I'll put the link in the description. Make sure you check it out. And I just want to say a massive thank you for coming on today. I know it's long overdue, but it's been great chatting with you.
Appreciate it. It was fantastic. It's always good talking to you, Benj, and it's never doesn't happen often enough. We need to talk more often.
I agree. Well, enjoy the rest of your day. It looks like you got great weather there. It's pitch black outside, so I'm gonna get myself to bed. But
get to sleep.
We'll talk soon.
Yes. Take care. Thanks, everybody. It was fun. It was a blast. Thanks for watching.
Take care. Speak soon.